So you don't apologize for winning in this league, obviously. And the Bears did exactly what they were supposed to do. They took advantage of a bad football team. It wasn't a close game. They pounded them. What did you like most about the win against the Panthers?
It's hard to deny the efficiency of Caleb Williams. He's more in command at the line of scrimmage. He's got more of a variety of cadences that put him in control of personnel that he likes to keep on the field and denying the Carolina Panthers or the opponent to put in matching personnel. He's able to go up there and manipulate the snap count, and he kind of go up there and say, hut, hut, with no intentions of other snapping the ball, just so to see if he can get any pre-snap indicators to help him call the next play accordingly. So that's exciting to see. And, a couple of the accuracy to the long distance passes, the one to Cole Kmet, obviously the long pass to DJ Moore for the touchdown. I like to see that because there was a couple of weeks before that he missed on that. He's even in the podium. He said he'd like to have him back and he knows he'll improve on it. Well, he showed improvement within 4 or 5 days. It was exciting to see. And to me is the continuous performance of the defense. They're using 8 defensive linemen, rotating, and they're all playing a good quality brand of football. And, the linebackers and defensive backs are as good as we thought they could be at the start of the season. And that's the one thing we needed to see is if the Bears defense was going to pick up where they left off, and they've done that. But I think you guys know Jaquan Brisker didn't make the flight because he has concussion issues. And so I don't know if he'll get on a plane Thursday and fly over here and play, or he's definitely out of the game.
I imagine you would like the run-pass ratio that they've had the last couple of games.
Yeah, I do. I'm glad they're finally getting some production out of the running game. Is what I'm happy about. Yerk, I still think it's something as conditions deteriorate and they start getting into these divisional games, they're going to have that part of their offense as much as I think, will continue to improve along with Caleb in the passing game. But Yerk, Bill Murray came in last week, and I was always kind of anxious because you've been around guys that were converted defensive linemen that have come out and gotten to practice, and then they kind of got that defensive lineman temperament when they go out there and play. And Bill Murray, he did a nice job. And so I don't know what Tevin's status is going to be by the start of the game, but he's definitely increased the consideration of competition on the inside of that offensive line. And so it'll be interesting to see what happens this week leading up to it. But yeah, offensive game production. And then, getting it out of DeAndre Swift, getting it out of Rashawn Johnson. And, you still have Khalil Herbert there to be a contributor. But, you got to have a running game when you take that second half season schedule into account.
Bill Murray had the best run blocking grade for the week for the Bears and the second best pass blocking grade for the Bears for the week, for what it's worth, from PFF. So I'm glad you brought him up because I was going to ask you about him, Tommy. I mean, just like technique wise and things like that. I mean, are you pleased? Do you see it? And it's sometimes one game, hard to make a determination or judgment, especially against a defensive line that really had very little resistance, especially once they lost Clowney. But was there anything in particular that stood out? And when you watch Bill Murray, do you think he's got a real chance?
I think he does have a real chance. One thing about an offensive lineman, if you play 1 year or 10 years, you're never perfect in your fundamentals and your techniques, and you're always looking to improve them 1 year to the next. So that's never going to go away for any of these guys. But what I like about Bill Murray is when you look at his pass blocking responsibility, one thing, if you're an uncovered offensive lineman, you're always looking to deliver a shot to a poor, unsuspecting defensive lineman. And when Braxton Jones was creating a couple stalemates or even getting pushed back from the line of scrimmage, Bill Murray was wiping guys out, and he was lighting them up. And it wasn't a courtesy shot. It was a shot with vindictiveness added to it. And I really think that's what this Bears offensive line has been searching for the last couple of years, is a guy that's willing to go out there and do something a little bit nastier than the way they draw it up.
Yeah, the Yurko says that a lot too.
I'm always looking for the Richie Incognito type.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
the last time that the Bears played here in London, they played the Raiders. In the very first play of the game, there was three guys. There was a fullback, a tackle, and Richie Incognito, all looking to hit Khalil Mack.
Yeah.
And all three of them hit him. And I think Khalil Mack, I went back and looked at it, he got hit like 32 times in that game by multiple bodies. And, when you see a guy like that, defensive personnel, linebackers, they're aware of him, because if they get him in space, Richie's going to hit him, and I think that's what Bill Murray's willing to do. For
this matchup this week, look, Jacksonville's 1-4, and they certainly have had their issues, but on the edge, I think they're going to provide a lot more than Carolina was able to provide across that defensive line. So with Walker, who's coming off a strong game, with Hines Allen, who's coming off his best year last year, maybe a little bit of a slow start with just 2 sacks, but 7 combined sacks, 14 combined QB hits. The challenge will be, I guess, a lot greater for Braxton Jones and Darnell Wright this weekend, won't it?
Yeah, you know what? See if you can take advantage of them early if they're a little bit overzealous about pass rushing. And can you get them off balance with a play-action pass in their direction? Can you throw a screen over the top of them, so maybe you got to make them slow down a little bit? They ran a couple of outside zone plays last week where Cole Kmet had a couple of good blocks that was able to set the edge and create that outside running lane. You got to do something that is both physical and destructive and distracting to those guys, so they're not just thinking, oh my God, I got to get to the passer as quickly as I can. Because if you start forgetting about what else you're responsible for, maybe you get a big play on them. Maybe you take advantage of them. And then you're playing against a quarterback like Lawrence. I think he's got 62 turnovers in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And maybe you get an extra chance or two by him throughout the course of the game, and that increases the responsibility of the defense, because they know what the quarterback sometimes can do to you.
All right. Do you have anything in particular you want to do while you're in London? Anything you want to see? I know you've made the trip before a couple times, but do you want to do anything special?
Carm, we're so far out in the country. We're so far away from human population that it's not easy. You can't just get in the car and drive 10 minutes or walk out of your hotel and be right in the midst of downtown. You have to travel an hour to get into any type of populated area.
Well,
so
what's your resort called? Where are you guys at?
Well, I don't think he wants to give that out.
So,
Nobody can get
so
in
the
there.
team is staying at one place. We're staying at a place that's called Fanham. It's like FANHAMS Hall. So it's about 7 miles away from where the team is actually staying. And listen, I got a beautiful room. I got a room that looks like something that you want to, take your bride to and spend a week there. A little sitting room, a fireplace, a canopy bed, a huge bathroom, and all that kind of stuff. But then you're so far out in the country that really there is nothing to do. So it's going to be watch tape.
Oh, they are.
Watch one of the 200 channels offered to me on my TV and, wait for the game.
Living large. I love it. All right, buddy. Enjoy the game. We'll talk to you next. We'll catch up next week. All right.
Yeah. Anytime.
All right, Tom.
Buddy.